Okay, hi BookTube. This is Dan again. Oh, let me take these headphones off. Don't need those. Oh, the hair. All right, so today I want to talk about one of my favorite French authors. Deserves to be better known. In fact, he's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's longest palindrome reading forwards and backwards the same. His name is Georges Perec. Um, and he wrote, he wrote a lot, but his two most, including at one point, I think, a book about everything he ate for a month or a year, I'm not sure. I think he published everything but his Czech stud book, and was the joke. But he was a member of Oulipo, which we'll talk about, and he's most known for two books which won the big prizes in France. I think it was the Goncourt, that are very different. One's the big, and probably his masterpiece, Life, a User's Manual, which sort of takes the face off a building, an apartment building in Paris, and shows you all the people living there and some ghosts of people who lived there in the past. Not literal ghosts, but talks about their histories as well, and their interactions, and each one has different puzzles associated with them. And it's sort of a non-narrative, but there are, it's poly-narrative. It's got many narrative threads, but you sort of have to choose them, put them together yourself. It's a big, what did Emerson say, the big baggy monster of a book, but a great one and a lot of fun if you have any tolerance at all for more creative experiments in literature. So I definitely recommend Life, a User's Manual by Georges Perec. I'm going to talk about his other one, which I think is easier starting place and perhaps a little less exciting, which is called Les Choses, the Things. So tiny bit more about Perec. Let's see. He wrote a entire book without the letter E, which is the most common letter in the French language, called La Disparition, the disappearance. What disappears, by the way, is E, is this symbol, which is sort of like a mark. The E could be Jews, and they were marked and disappeared, obviously. Perec was Jewish, or it could be the feminine, right? His mother, or the also is them, the third person plural pronoun for like them, the parents, right? The disappeared. So he wrote La Disparition, then he wrote Le Revenant, one with only the letter E, which I haven't read. But you would think like he wrote a whole novel without a letter. He can't read well. There's no way this thing is, you're not going to be able to tell. You wouldn't tell. If someone didn't tell you this novel doesn't have the letter E, it just reads great. So this man, he loves to play with language. In fact, he designed crosswords. That was one of the things he did a lot. And we'll talk about Oulipo, or the Workshop for Potential Literature, in a minute when we jump into the questions. All right, so one of my first questions is sources. Georges Perec was influenced by varied sources, very widely read fellow, from Barthes Mythologies to Cy Shonagon's Pillow Book. How does he use devices, literary theory even, accumulation, the detail, right, from those Japanese aristocrat, almost poetic journals. How does he use these tools more or less effectively in a book whose narrative is somewhat sparse? Does it add? Does it detract? Where does it add? Where does it detract? That's sort of one of my first questions. Then names, role of names, or the lack thereof, really. He and she, the only really main characters. No one gets names. What's going on with that? Right, the title of the book is The Things. They are market researchers. A young couple trying to figure out their way in the world in the time of, set in Mai 68, this kind of background, I think. And then, and by the way, there's a whole second half of this book where they go to Morocco that has a whole different narrative, or it's their lives are looked at in a totally different way from this Paris phase. I think it was Paris. Anyway, this French phase. And Perec himself did his paratrooper training in North Africa as well. But it was cut. His editor, I forgot who. This section was cut And I've so many times thought I need to track down the second half of this book and publish it with that half intact and see what that would have looked like. So it's a short book of the things, so it's an easy entree into um, some French literature that is very well known by French people, but for some reason not by people who study French in the States. Okay, Oulipo. So Georges Perec belonged to the Workshop for Potential Literature, the Œuvre de Littérature Potentielle, Oulipo, with people like Italo Calvino, Raymond Queneau, who wrote the style exercises, like, this guy running for a bus in 47 different ways, precise. He ran exactly 3 meters per second at a 14-degree angle. Poetic, just all these. That's a fun book as well. And Perec also wrote some anti-theater, but anyway, he's mainly known for being in the Oulipo. So, and the other people that were in this group were sort of mathematicians, and their idea was to use limitations they felt enhance the literature. So they might write a poem, based on an architectural detail of, the Forbidden Palace, or an old, non-Euclidean geometry proof, or, these kinds of really cross-pollinating from literature to math games, which is, you can see right now with the palindrome and the writing without the letter E. And so what experiment is Georges Perec doing with this, his first book, right, his break into literature? How is that operating? A lot less, obviously, but I do believe there is something happening there. How is that operating? That potential literature aspect operating in the things? I think I'll end on that question. That's probably my favorite question. So yes, check out Georges Perec. Check out The Things. It's a quick read, and then if you like it, I think you will. Jump into Life User's Manual, but don't be put off by its size, because remember, you can read through it, as much or as little as you like. And trust me, even the tiniest chapter in there is going to give you tons to think about and puzzle over. And why is he including that, and where is this going? In fact, one of the main characters in Life User's Manual is a puzzle maker, literally, like crossword, not crossword, jigsaw puzzles. All right, that's enough about Georges Perec. Check him out; he's really fun. See you.